This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. When life goes so fast, it's important to take a moment to celebrate your wins and make adjustments for the rest of the year. Therapy can help you take stock of your progress and set achievable goals for the next 6 months. Take a moment. Visit betterhelp.com/IDK today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/IDK. Tiny Tim. Big Tim. Who wrote the tulips thing? Probably the big one, tiny one. What was he all about, Tiny Tim?
It was Big Tim.
Who the fuck listened to Tiny Tim, and how did he ever have a hit? Okay, hi, it's Jim Jefferies. Welcome to the podcast. but Tiny Tim, how did Tiny Tim, like a fat cunt with a ukulele going, tiptoe the tulips by the garden, and he fucking, everyone knows that Tiny Tim did that. Who bought the album?
I didn't know that was Tiny Tim. I thought Tiny Tim was from...
Tim is the Johnny Cash of ukuleles, my friend.
No, you're thinking of Tiny Tim from the story, the
Scrooge.
Yeah. No, there's a guy.
No, he's not called Tiny Tim. Is he the one of Scrooge?
I think he's just. I don't know, but there's
Is he called Tiny Tim?
His real name is.
He is. All right, Tiny Tim is in Scrooge, so I know that Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim the musician. I use that in air quotes. Known as Herbert Buckingham Cowrie. That's his real name. Professionally known as Tiny Tim.
There's not even Tim in that name.
Yeah, well, I'd like to be called Herbert Cowley.
Yeah, he is known for his 1968 hit song "Tiptoe Through the Tulips."
Yeah, which I think is a cover, or did he write the song?
I'm clicking on it now. He's known for his falsetto range. Yeah, I guess it is a popular song published in 1929. Yeah,
it's a cover.
Yeah.
And he just went tulips like that, and he had a hit with it. Could you imagine? And he wasn't even a comedy act.
Yeah, he was known because of his range, his vocal range, in particular, far-reaching falsetto.
Fucking the Bee Gees would have done a better fucking version of that, I tell you.
With 3-piece harmony, it was real nice. Mm-hmm.
He was known as the Singing Canary.
Yeah. He was one of those guys.
He performed on the Singing Canary. Sorry.
He was one of those guys that when I was a kid, they always wheeled him out on TV shows. Is Tiny Tim dead?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
How did you know that so quickly?
Oh, because it was a pivotal moment. I saw him on every talk show, and Pee-wee, and yeah.
Yeah, he was always on everything.
Yeah, he would be perfect for Pee-wee. Like, by the way, Pee-wee Herman's house is for sale. $5 million.
What, the wacky one?
No.
With all the furniture that
in the hills.
I
think it's pretty wacky still, but it's in the hills.
You're talking about the actor's house.
Yeah. Paul Rubens.
Yeah, Paul Rubens' house.
Yeah.
Not Pee-wee's Fun House, is it for sale? Because you had me at Pee-wee's Fun House. I went, sold.
It's wait. Maybe it is for sale. Oh, yeah, Pee-wee's Herman's real life playhouse.
Yeah, okay, real life. They're bloody.
Yeah, for $4.9 million. And it's supposed to be a little bit wacky though. It looks nice.
Hope so.
At auction, I sold something at auction recently. One of my possessions, which no one's business. But
okay.
But I bought something really cool.
Also no one's business.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you anyway.
Okay.
It's a knife. I bought a cool knife.
You bought a knife?
Yeah, I bought a cool knife.
Like a pocket knife or like a...
Like a little hunting knife.
What's so special with this knife?
It was Elvis's knife.
That's what I asked him. I go, Elvis known for knives.
Yeah, he liked guns though.
He's a knife guy?
And it comes in a sheath with like EP and a hound dog embroidered into it. It was Elvis's knife, right? You know, he used to...
Is this what he cut the peanut butter sandwiches with?
No, it's a hunting knife.
I don't know what he's hunting. What is he hunting?
Priscilla. I don't know.
Pussy.
Right, yeah. But anyway, it's Elvis' knife. And my wife goes, what are you doing bringing a knife into the house? We have children. And I pointed at the knife block in the kitchen.
I've never heard of anyone being like,
I know, but she just thought, she thought it, because it's more of a weapon-y type knife.
Yeah.
But it's like, we have ones with Japanese steel.
Yeah, that's good steel.
That's the best stuff. That's the best stuff. You should know you're a quarter steel.
That's right. I'm a quarter steel. I'll cut you. Be careful.
That's why you can wear a t-shirt called Wong's. I've always looked at you in your Wong's t-shirt and thought I could never get away with it. What is Wong's?
It's Corey Wong. He's a guitarist. So he sold merch that made it just look like it was a pizza restaurant.
Oh.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
No, I think it is cool. Ever since you've worn that t-shirt, I always look around for like that pizza place.
Doesn't
Everywhere
exist.
I go.
That's why I got it, because it looks like a pizza place.
Your next dates, do you know when they are? For a while.
Not for a while. I'm about to go up to
Australia.
Australia to do some dates.
Those are your next dates, Australia.
Yeah, Australia. So I'm having a bit of time off. I'm working on a book and some other things. So and also it's school holidays. I want to spend school holidays with my kids and do some fun things. But then I'm off. We're going to film more of the 1% Club in Australia.
1%.
And and then we're going to do two.
Have you watched any of the American 1%?
I watched one of the episodes of the American one, and I got to the 25 or 20% question or something like that. I got pretty far.
Is it
Patton enjoying it, do you think? Or?
He does a different job than me.
Yeah.
He's he
Patton
stands.
Oswalt's the host.
Yeah, he stands behind the podium and actually acts like a game show host and reads the questions properly. And I just sort of wander around. And he's like, okay, so I always lead in with like this. I'm like, what's your name? Where are you from? What do you do? Right? I get to give a bit of that. Okay, and I try to lead them. I never know what they're going to answer, but I know that I get sometimes little prompts like ask them about their hobbies or ask them if they do any charity work or something.
Yeah.
Leading questions, you know what I mean? So like even with late night show hosts, they know what they're going to ask, and some of them, and I won't say who because I don't want to blow anyone's cover, some of them know exactly out of the 4 or 5 main people, and I've done 4 out of those 5 shows. Some of them know exactly what you're going to say and they're ready to have a chat with you about that, and they're sort of prepared. Some of them know what questions to ask you and they know a story's coming that's a long story or a short story. They're the 2 options. And I take the second option on the 1% Club. I don't want to know anything about anybody, and then I'll talk to them, and then, you know, I feel like I'm more engaged in the conversation. But Patton does it with, he goes like this, he goes, so, Jenny from Albuquerque, you have a frog collection. Tell me all about it. Like he does go straight in. He goes straight in, which I think saves a lot of time.
I think it does,
It does save a lot of time. But I do it different. I think that's the game show way.
It's Alex Trebek that would always do that, yeah.
Yeah, Alex Trebek.
You're into skiing.
But also, I find that sometimes I'll get something out of them that wasn't on the sheet of cardboard if I just start talking to them. Where otherwise I'll just find out about the frog collection.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
True that.
But it was fun because I've never watched the show back before, and I played along with my family, my son, and all that type of stuff, and we played the 1% Club, and we did all right. Yeah, that's cool. Right. Between the 3 of us, my wife, my son, and me, we got all the questions right between the 3 of us, but that's not how the game's played.
So you have a bunch of dates in Australia. If you're in Australia, don't just think that Jim is coming to just the major cities. He's going everywhere.
I'll be in Geelong.
Geelong, Hindmarsh. I guess that's Adelaide,
Hindmarsh.
right? That's Adelaide, right?
Yeah.
I know that because Amos is there. And Mount Claremont, Newcastle, Wollongong.
Canberra added a show in Canberra.
Townsville? You love Townsville. You always love a Townsville trip. And then I love Townsville. I've been to when I tell people I've been to Townsville, Australia, everyone's like, "What? You've been to Australia?"
I'm going to see our old mate Charlie Crossley.
Yeah, Charlie. We love him. And then you got a bunch of dates in September, starting in September with Jimmy Carr in Canada, and some dates with Mark Norman and Dan Soder.
Yeah, big dates. Check those out. The 3 of us, 3 headline act.
Yeah.
And then me and Jimmy Carr off to do Canada.
Go to jimjefferies.com. There's tons of dates.
There's going to be loads of American dates added for what's next year, 2025.
2025.
And I'm forgetting what year it is. I forget how old I am regularly now.
I forget what year it is all the time. I have dates. If you go to forrestshaw.net. Thank you to people that came out in Vegas to see me. There was people that came out to see me in Vegas. Our buddy Patrick, that's all the gigs with the bucket hat.
Yeah.
He brought people.
He's
and
a good lad.
A lot of other people came out too. And also, I never thanked everybody in Australia. People came out to the Factory Theater, and they came out to I know it's been a couple weeks now, but thank you so much. And also to the Comics Lounge, people flew from everywhere around. Thank you guys so much for coming out to Australia.
We've been watching edits of the TV show. I just saw Forrest's version of the TV show.
Fun times.
That we recorded some stand-up in Australia. I've got a big bird that won't kick. Hold on.
June 25th, we do have... June 25th, we have another live podcast at Flappers.
Do we?
Yeah, we do. You said you want to do a lot of them.
I like them.
Yeah. We have another one.
We'll get ahead of the advertising on this one.
Yeah. And so if you're in the LA area, come out June 25th. We had a really fun last one. We had Daniel Van Kirk on. He was awesome as our guest last time doing Frank Sinatra. And we really enjoyed that. So you got several weeks now to buy tickets at Flappers on June 25th at 8 p.m. And then IDCat Podcast on Instagram. And I think merch is coming. We say that every episode.
It's slowly but surely. It's a slow process,
Yeah,
folks.
it's happening. So.
Getting designed.
I'm getting merch for the Australian tour as well. There's going to be a whole lot of merch for the Australian tour.
It's going to be great.
I'm making a shirt with pizza on it, my name. It's a good idea. I'm stealing it.
The Doohickey single, Rainin' in Cowboy, comes out June 28th. Get ready.
What's the single?
Rainin' in Cowboy.
Rainin' in Cowboy.
Rain it in, not raining in.
Yeah.
Rain it in.
And you'll be at my show, June 19th,
That's right.
at the Improv. Maybe Jim will be.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm having the month off.
Who knows?
I'm having a sabbatical.
Now, let's meet our guest, Aiden Gabor.
G'day, Aiden. Now it's time to play.
Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes, no. Judging a book by its cover.
King. Okay, so Aiden's.
Just a picture of a
We
guy
just
on a-
have a picture of
guy on a
someone
bench.
sitting on a bench in front of what looks like Gotham City, and also Aiden's voice sounds like he's in the witness protection
You
program.
can ask him.
Are you in the witness protection program, Aiden?
No, sir, I'm not.
And is that your
He's not.
real name, Aiden? Is this your real name?
No, it is not.
Ah, okay. Do I personally know you? Is this why you're being?
No.
No, I believe we have never met. I don't think you'd want to see this pretty mug.
Right. I'm glad we haven't met. You sound terrifying. Okay. Has it got to do? If it's a picture, I think, is it got to do with superheroes?
No.
Is it
No.
okay. Has it got to do with crime?
Yes, has yes, a lot to do with crime.
Do with crime. Are you a cop?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yeah. I think that's a proper answer for him. I know.
Oh, so he's an informant. You an informant?
Yes and no.
Who's asking?
You're right there.
All right. Is it the witness protection program?
No, we're talking about some.
No.
We're talking about a subject.
Why would you need to
you'd
be in the witness
there.
protection program?
Murder. Oh, the mob.
There you go.
The mob.
The mob, mafia, however you want to say it. We're talking to Aiden Gabor today. Aiden Gabor is a former associate of a notorious crime family, and he found his way back to the side of justice, approached by the Department of Justice with a daunting ultimatum, facing life imprisonment for crimes including racketeering, embezzlement, extortion, and conspiracy to commit murder. He chose to become a confidential informant. For over a decade, Aiden worked undercover, risking his life to help the DOJ arrest and convict over a dozen high-ranking police officers and politicians. His gripping memoir, Conflicting Loyalties, offers an unflinching look into his life as a mafia enforcer and a DOJ informant. You can find him. His book is available on Amazon, Conflicting Loyalties, and you can find him on social media, Instagram at Conflicting Loyalties Book, Conflicting Loyalties is a Facebook page as well, and then on Twitter or X at Gabor Aiden. That's GABORAIDEN. Thanks for being here, Aiden.
There's so much for having me on. It's an honor to be on.
All right. So we're talking to Donnie Brasco, man. I know. I've watched the movies.
Yeah.
I know what's going on. Ask me any question. I'm good to go.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'm gonna, unless you, well, we can ask you. We'll talk to you a little bit more about your life as we answer these questions. Like we can get into your whole story and stuff, Aiden. But what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna ask Jim a series of questions about the mob here, and at the end of him answering them, you're gonna grade his accuracy 0 through 10. 10 is the best. And then Jack here is gonna grade him on confidence. I'm gonna grade him on how hungry I am. So we'll add all those scores together, 21 through 30. If you get that, I'll make him an offer he can't refuse. You know that one. Then 11 through 20, I'll make him an offer that's negotiable. 0 through 10, he's going to say no immediately to this offer.
Why wouldn't I be a maid man
You could.
and then a cleaning man?
Well, look,
then a
I'm
dust-
happy that
then a
Jack is
dust
helping
man.
me do these, but you don't have to always, these were Jack's throwing you under the bus. But I like things.
Thanks, man.
I think you did a good. I didn't know Jack did it.
Yeah.
Very good.
First question: what is the origin of the term mafia?
Oh, that's a good question. Why is they called mafia? It would come from an Italian word.
Sure.
Mafioso.
Mm-hmm. What does it mean?
Which is Italian for family.
Explain the structure of a typical mafia family.
Well, you have the godfather or the top bloke, right? Then you have the made men underneath. These are the good fellas, right? These are the guys who you can't go against a made man. If you go against a made man, you're in a lot of trouble, right? They've been anointed from the top.
Yeah.
And then there'd be, underlings underneath that sort of are trying to get up to the next position. I reckon there'd be maybe 6 or 7.
What are the names of all these things?
6 or 7
there's
layers.
There's names of there's titles.
A made man, godfather. Then you'd have unmade men, and then just maids.
Maids cleaning up after him.
Yeah.
What is the significance of the code of silence? Or it's also known omerta in mafia culture. I might be pronouncing that wrong.
It's if you talk, you sleep with the fishes, you dumb cunt. Although I think they need a lot more cunt in their sayings with all their tough guy stuff. I've never seen one mafia guy say the word cunt. I really think they need to work on that.
Is there an Australian mob?
Okay, there's a great movie. My favourite depiction of the Australian mobs are mostly made up of biker gangs, right? So you have biker gangs. They run all the drugs and they run all the nightclubs and stuff like that. And if you're selling drugs in their nightclub, to the extent that they put out an advert in the paper saying, if you cut fentanyl into our products, we're coming to get you. So fentanyl hasn't hit Australia for that very reason, because the gangs have actually covered it. But so our guys are all white blokes with mullets in denim jackets. Right, but then there's also these other sort of mid-range ones, and there's probably Heath Ledger's last movie before he went to Hollywood was called Two Hands, and Brian Brown, who incidentally I wanted to have play my father in a sitcom, but he would only do 2 episodes, and I go, we can't kill off a sitcom character after 2 episodes, Brian. But Brian Brown plays a mafia boss, and it's always funny because the Australian mafia guys are always wearing thongs, flip-flops, and little shorts, and they're like, fucking, what's that fucking idiot up to? I'm going to fucking cut that cunt's throat. It's just a lot more fun.
All right.
There's no suits, there's no bada bing, but the structure remains the same.
All right. What was the purpose of the commission established by the American Mafia?
I think I'm going to say that's the unionization of the mafia, where they all sort of agree not to step on each other's toes, and that everything has to go through the 5 families or whatever, through the head of the family, and they can sit down and agree and break bread and all that shit.
What does made man mean? You said it, but what is it?
Made man means that you have actually been sworn into the family, you are part of the family, and you are untouchable now, that you can work with, the only people who can really go after you is people within the family who are higher ranking than you, and there's, but it takes a lot. It's like getting tenure as a professor.
What was the What was the outcome of the infamous Valentine's Day massacre? Like, what do you know about it?
It happened in New York. There was a whole lot of people that were shot dead in a restaurant, and I don't really know why. I've seen a documentary on it, but it's been a very long time. But a whole lot of people died.
Okay.
They were probably going after who's that guy that I think was involved with it? Lucky Luciano. I'll say he was involved.
Okay. How did the FBI eventually manage to infiltrate and dismantle major mafia families?
Through informants and stuff like that. So, they tried to get them. So Al Capone got done for, and that wasn't the thing that was in, but Al Capone got done for tax evasion.
Yeah.
You just have to find things to, it's the same as Trump. No one gives a fuck that Trump got hush money. That's not the big problem. People just don't like Trump. I think, this is my theory on the whole Trump thing, that Stormy Daniels should have to pay that money back. Because she didn't hush. You got to hush. If you take the money, I want to see the hush. Right? I think Trump did something wrong. I've said some jokes, but you got to hush.
What role did Las Vegas play? What role did Las Vegas play in the history of organized crime?
Well, they started to filter money through the casinos. It was a good way of money laundering. And then also it was a way for them to set up legitimate businesses through entertainment and through gambling and stuff like that. It was all run by mobsters, and that's why you got Sinatra and all that type of stuff hanging in.
What is the significance of the term La Cosa Nostra?
La Cosa Nostra.
La Cosa Nostra.
La Cosa Nostra. Do, 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 do. La Cosa Nostra. It means Merry Christmas in Italian.
Oh, yeah, you're right. How did the term the five families come about? And do you know who they are?
They were 5 families.
Yeah.
The Manjaros. The Ozempics.
Yeah. Okay. I actually thought Manjaro was the real thing.
Well, that's 2.
What are the other families?
Luciano, and then who was that guy that everyone Grotti, the Grottis, they were involved.
The Grottis.
Yeah, Gotti,
okay.
Gotti. No, I don't know the names.
Okay. What is the significance of the
I don't believe in Crime Forest.
What is the significance of the Appalachian meeting in Mafia history?
That was when the 5 families, the head of the 5 families, got together for the first time in the same room.
Okay. Who was the infamous mobster known as the Teflon Don?
I think that is Gotti.
And why was he called that?
Because they could never pin him down. They never could quite get him to go. He went into prison for a little while, but they could never get him for all the big stuff.
What was the significance of the I'm going to pronounce this, Casta Lamarisi War? Casta Lamarisi War.
Sounds delicious.
That was someone killed a made man, and then they killed a made man. It went back and forth.
Couple more questions. What is the Teamsters Union, and how is it related to the mob?
The Teamsters are the people who unload and load up trucks. And I reckon there's a lot of corruption going on there because they're the point of loading things on and loading things off.
Trucks?
And it was trucks. It was stopping trucks
That's
from coming in, saying what trucks had what good stuff on them. You know, the term "it fell off the back of a truck" is like a thing because the mobsters were big on robbing trucks. For the most part, the mob have never really been into drugs. That's more I don't
know.
No, that wasn't their big thing. Was drugs. They were racketeering and all that type of stuff.
Last question: who was the first mobster to publicly testify against the mafia?
Publicly,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the guy from Goodfellas. What's his name? I've forgotten what his name is.
Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
No, not the actor.
Okay.
The character he's playing. Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember what his name is.
Idiots. I think he's dead. He's like he's finished off being like a chef in Alaska or something.
Henry Hill.
Henry Hill. I'm gonna say Henry Hill.
Okay, Aiden. How did Jim do in his knowledge of the mob or the mafia? 0 through 10. 10's the best.
Am I some fucking clown to you?
Yeah. No, he did better than I thought he would have. I would give him probably a 7.
A 7. You're ready.
I thought he did pretty good. 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Other than number 6, the St. Valentine's Massacre, which he got nothing right on that one.
Yeah.
So it was not New York?
Wrong city. Wrong area.
Chicago?
Nah, too late.
Yeah.
But in your answer,
Yeah.
too late.
Yeah, it's always Chicago and New
Yeah.
York. Mobsters like the cold places because they get to wear the suits. I'm telling you. That's why they're New York and Chicago. They like the cold.
They like the big puffy
They
jackets.
get to wear a big jacket over the top and
All right, how do you do in confidence, Jack?
You got a 6.
6, so that's 13. I'm not that hungry. I just ate that sub you brought.
Yeah.
So I think 11 through 20, I'll make him an offer that's negotiable.
That's good.
That's what you're going to do. So our first question, what is the origin of the term mafia? Jim said it's Italian for family. Is that correct?
Family, it is, but it's not complete. No, it's the organizations. It's based on when they started with it. It's just the way you act. It's like rules, I guess you can say. A certain way you act with each other. It's almost like you don't poach, you don't do things like that.
Yeah.
All right, so it's honor amongst thieves.
Yeah. It comes from
Basically, yeah.
It does come from the word mafioso. No, mafioso.
Mafioso.
Yeah, and it's being swagger and boldness and stuff too.
Swagger and boldness.
So explain the typical structure of it, or explain the structure of a typical mafia family. Jim says there's a godfather, then unmade men, then maids.
No, made men's.
Is there a hierarchy
maids.
that's different than that? What's the actual hierarchy, and what are the names of the titles of people?
You know, it is. You know, when you look at the movies, it is. You know, you've got your head of the families, which would be basically your boss, and then you would have, you know, you have your cabos, and then the maid, which are basically the made men. You have some in there that are just under them as their made men, and then you would have the enforcers, which usually aren't made men. They're the ones that do all the dirty work, you know. And then you have almost like he's talking about the motorcycle gangs. You got it kind of like what they have was like in training, or whatever the hell they call them. That's the way when I was in it is how it was, you know. And again, being a made man is they're untouchable to a point. But again, I could never be a made man because I was of Hungarian descent. You have to have your lineage something in Sicily and or Italy.
Well, no one will ever figure out who you are. I bet you there's some mafia cunt riding along in his car right now going, Hungarian descent. What, Todd the Hungarian?
No, you know, you know, my father was an associate with them. I kind of moved up with them, but I got to the point where, you know, I enforced a lot of things. So
you were a heavy for the mob, were you?
Excuse me?
Were you a heavy for the mob?
What with the mob, sir?
Do we use that term? A heavy, like a heavy, like
an enforcer. He said
enforcer. Yeah, that's.
Something said heavy. I'm like,
no, but that's the term. A heavy.
Heavy.
I didn't ask if you were fat, Aiden. I can't see, but I always thought that was the term. He's a heavy. You've never. Am I the only person who's heard this term?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know what? I really nobody ever said that. I enforced a lot and collected and. Guess you want to put a term "come to Jesus" with people, give them like a little misunderstanding, but we're going to make sure you understand that, you know, the term, you know, we can't refuse.
How many bones have you broken, mate? How many, like, not on you, how many other people's bones have you broken, would you estimate?
Back in a lot. I never up the head. Not just put a lot. I mean, everybody had something different. And back in the day, you would carry a bat, a ball, and a mitt in your trunk or your back, and you always see you ready to play baseball. Because then the cops can't pinch you for anything like that. But I was a big person. I'd like to hit the ankles. So I figure if you hit somebody in the ankles, you get the wheels, they go down. They're going to crawl at the most and whine. You hit people in the knees, they could kind of get up, and then you got screwed with them a little longer. You hit them in the ankles, it got a nice little ting to it, and they went down, and they got the point when you were talking. And then they're not going to screw around with you when they're crawling on the ground. They're easier to control.
All right. Mental note. I got to start carrying a glove and a ball.
You already do, but you're actually playing baseball with your son.
Yeah.
No, I actually just carry a baseball in the back, and I think I'm going to throw it at someone someday.
Yeah.
My aim's no good. I'm going to start carrying a bat and a glove.
You'd be the worst enforcer. just throwing a ball missing.
Yeah.
Can you give me that ball back?
I'd be like this. All right, boys. Time to collect the money. I've forgotten 2 of my items. All I've bought is this glove.
Shoot.
I'm going to glove the shit out of you. When life goes so fast, it's important to take a moment and celebrate your wins and make adjustments for the rest of the year. Therapy can help you take stock of your progress and set achievable goals for the next 6 months. I've benefited from therapy. I know Forrest has benefited from therapy. I don't know about you, Jack. You keep everything very close to your chest like a Wong's t-shirt. but I believe Jack could help. It could help whatever this is.
Got a lot of rage.
Therapy can get into you. I've always relied on therapy for many, many years of my life, and it's been a real lifesaver. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time at no additional fee. So why don't you take a moment? Visit betterhelp.com/IDK today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/IDK. You got to put the IDK in.
It's a boss. Capo's the captain's, right? Yeah. Oh, and then consigliere.
What debts were you collecting? Were they mostly loans for degenerate gamblers, or are these protection money? What was the money you were collecting?
Everything. Most for gambling. Some these degenerates to borrow money. Protection, yeah. Usually the ones with the protection didn't really whine too much. We didn't have too much problems with them. It was the gamblers that were a pain in the ass. That was really it. There was prostitution, but at the time I was still too young. They wouldn't let me play with the girls. And so I never really got to do much with that. We had chops, you'd steal a car and, got that all. But, yeah.
So the girls never got to bash around the ankles with a baseball bat? You never did that to women? They look, geez, women have it privileged, eh? I'm out there in the wild. I can be hit with a baseball bat at any given stage. And even the mobsters let it be. Forrest, you were you beat.
No, I never had it. They really hit one woman at all while doing things with them. Now, when I went into law enforcement, yes.
Oh.
But when I was doing the other part, no.
So Forrest, you're a gambler. I'm not going to ask you about you personally, but you know a lot of gamblers, and I was just thinking about this because I never borrowed money. I
wouldn't even know how to borrow money from the mob.
Neither. I don't think I would.
Do you go to a lot of banks and then one guy goes, I got to go?
I don't know either. And I would never do it because I'd be afraid I'm going to lose the money. If you're a gambling addict, eventually you'll lose it. And now you owe it to the mob. That would be terrifying. So yeah.
But you don't, any guys who got in trouble with the mobs? No. You never had any of your gambling friends show up to AA with a sling on their arm or a busted ankle?
And GA, I've heard some stories of people that gotten in trouble. Yeah, for sure. I can't say because it's it's
no, not individuals, but but
I've heard some. I never saw any. I didn't know anybody personally that ever happened to.
So how did you get clients then? That's my next question. If Forrest, who is a degenerate gambler, just a gambler.
It's okay. You can say it. That's fine.
Forrest, who
regular old-fashioned gambler.
Yeah, Forrest is a good old gambler, and he would be a huge mark for anyone who wanted to give out money. If you saw him at the roulette or something, like Forrest did different gambling. I'm just saying, how did you find clients, or did they find you?
We didn't find clients. I didn't have anything to do that.
Sorry, you're just cutting out again. Let's give it a beat and start again.
As Mike Hobble, he would be the one to decide that motherfucker owes money. He had his second command, really, which was Nikki. They would be the ones that would get I was just out there collecting. So this fucker owed this money. I had to go over there, had a little chat with them, and we had a come to Jesus meeting.
And did you get a percentage of the collection as your fee, or were you on a weekly wage, or how did you get paid?
Weekly. It was just like a job. We really, it was all, now and then you get little stipends and if you collected something, but not really. It wasn't like a finder's fee or anything like that. You did what you were told, and you got money that way.
In Goodfellas, which I think is the best gangster movie of all time, in my opinion, they always talk about the respect that you got around the neighborhood from all the people who knew that you were in the mob. Was that real? Was there loads of women lining up? Was there, you go into a bakery and they give you a free bun or something? What were the perks, man?
Everything, you name it. Women. I was all the way up to I was 19, so I was in my teens, and yeah, you got your respect. You got free food. You got free. You go in the neighborhood to collect. They give you. Oh yeah, here's a coffee, or here's something if you wanted something. Sometimes you walk in these little mom and pop places and say, "I'm gonna grab some olive oil," and they'd be like, "Yeah." They wouldn't even say anything. You didn't even say nothing to them half the time. But that was it. Respect was there. Everybody's like, yes, sir, no, sir. Even the gangs we had a respect for each other back then.
Now you were 19. That seems
we didn't deal with drugs. So we let them.
19 seems extraordinarily young to be doing an occupation. Were you just a big lad? Because, like, I remember back when I was 19, I think I still had pimples all over my face and I was shaving about once a week. You know what I mean? Like, I looked like I was still going through puberty. Were you just a big Hungarian bastard who used to just go bashing around people's ankles and stuff? Like, I can't see you, but I think your voice is accurate.
Yeah, I was good size. I was pretty good. I'm still good size. I was really good size for my age. I would get in scuffles with boys that were 6, 7 years older than me, but I was like, I don't know how you put it. I was a cheap shot, but I wouldn't give up. You can beat the shit out of me, but until I'm knocked out, I'm gonna keep getting up. And, eventually I was diagnosed with no empathy and psychotic. And I worked on it every day. So Eddie, which looked at me, basically saw something with me that, this kid ain't giving up. And I wasn't afraid to do what I was told. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't watch movies too much, horror movies, because I laugh at them. If someone's getting their head bashed in or getting their leg chopped, I laugh. I think it's funny. My feeling, it sucks to be them. It is what it is, and I don't care. So I'm just not happening to me or my family. I have no problem with it.
So have you got empathy now? Is that something that can be learned, or do you still have empathy issues?
I don't. I work on every day. I mean, I think since I've been learned spiritually, yes, a little bit, I guess, but no, I still feel the same way towards everything. My second wife, Sabrina, has brought me, I guess, more out of the light, along with my religious beliefs, and that has helped me.
Yeah, okay.
But I still struggle with it every day.
I think it takes a very brave person to say something like that. I have a lot of respect for that. Not many people are that honest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have said this about 4 years ago. I wouldn't have accepted it, but I went through a lot of friends of mine that are Sam and people that really worked in Sabrina has made me a better person, understanding things.
All right, great. That's awesome. No. I was just gonna. I'm trying to do the next question.
Forrest has no sincerity. he has a lack of sincerity. That's super. Okay.
As soon as I said it, I was like, "Oh boy!" I was like, "Anyways, next question." Now, what is the significance of the code of silence or omerta in Mafia culture? I guess I should have phrased the question different because it gave you the answer, but that's what it's called. Omerta, is that a thing?
Yeah, I mean, you basically shut the fuck up. I'm like me. I've never said anything against my family, crew, or anybody I ever ran with. Everything I've ever done bad that I have issues with is against police officers and politicians that were bad. But when we would never get into discussion about the guys I ran with, they were trouble. They already had them for other shit. And I wouldn't have said anything with them. But yeah, it's basically shut the fuck up.
Did you dress like a stereotypical mobster? Was there a suit or something like that? Or I feel like if you're collecting, it's best to be in a tracksuit so you can, you can run after people. You're best to be wearing a pair of sneakers rather than some, leather loafers is what I'm saying if you're going to kick the shit out of someone. Am I correct?
Yeah, I had sneakers, but I wore jeans a lot. I wore a polo most of the time. I mean, we had button-up shirts I wear. I mean, sure, I got a couple nice pairs of Italian loafers and stuff I wore sometimes, but I really don't wear suits. It wasn't me. I was an athlete and stuff, and I still went and did ball. I just dress normal, I guess say. I mean, but not like shaggy him anyway.
No, not to draw attention.
I always had my hair cut and everything, but that was, that's a respect thing for Eddie. He had a respect thing. The way it worked is, don't come in looking like a slob.
Did you have to?
What it was.
Did you have to dispose of some outfits and weapons in your day? Is there stuff that you have thrown into the Hudson?
In the Hudson?
Well, anywhere. It doesn't have to be that body of water.
There's some stuff I disposed of, but not. We had an area by us with a furnace. You can melt anything. Everything melted in that sucker. It was for cars, and we got rid of everything really there. So yeah, I mean, if you dispose of it in a river somewhere, someone's going to find it eventually, maybe.
Yeah. You ever seen those guys with
You melt
magnets
it, no one's gonna
online that
find
pick
it.
up everything?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Those fishing magnets.
Yeah.
Well, there's a girl called Kate Fisher. She's called something else now, but she used to be engaged to James Packer, who had the Mariah Carey story.
Yeah.
And she had a ring that was worth like $1 million that she threw into Sydney Harbour, and it's never been found.
Oh, well.
Engagement ring that she told him to fuck off, and she chucked it into the harbour.
A lot of sharks in there.
Get the magnet.
What was the purpose of the commission established by the American Mafia? Jim said to unionize the mafia. What was the commission for the American Mafia about, Aiden?
Really just agreement among the families, from what I understand. Now, it basically, you get your area, I get mine, and don't poach.
Yeah.
But it didn't mean they didn't fight. But this is more to keep them from beating up on each other. So if there was an issue that would come together and decide dates of people and who got what neighborhoods. But that's really the way I understood how it all worked.
But when they say neighborhoods, so we're talking about New York, New Jersey here, right? That's the neighborhoods we're talking about, right? So have we got Mafia operating here in Los Angeles?
I'm sure there is. I've been out of the game for a long time, but they were all everywhere. I mean, there are crews all over.
Yeah, but if we got the Bloods and the Crips and there's some Mexican gangs,
the Armenian mob.
We have different gangs, but do we have Italian blokes?
We have Armenian.
Armenian's not Italian. Armenia is a made-up country.
Okay.
No, not even close. I would say probably of something like, I still know some people that when they do business, they still do business with the gangs, even though they don't sell the drugs. Even back then, we got a percentage of drugs that were sold. And we had an understanding with each other, with the gangs. Nowadays, there's so many out there. I'm not sure exactly, but the people I still kind of contact with say they still get a percentage from the gangs.
Now, okay.
By the way, before
I'm not 100% sure if there's anything.
Before you continue on, I just wanted to say, so that commission, it says here that wrote it down, it was founded by Lucky Luciano. That's who did that in 1930.
Did I say Lucky Luciano?
No, you didn't. It was a different answer for a different question.
I said Lucky Luciano.
Another answer. We'll see.
Yeah, Frank Sinatra had a cigarette lighter that was engraved from Lucky Luciano.
Yeah. And Made Man, you already talked about the Made Man thing. What was the outcome of the infamous Valentine's Day massacre? Jim said it was in New York, and it was Lucky Luciano. That's what you said.
I got it wrong.
Yeah.
That was, I believe, Chicago, and that was with Capone in a garage.
Yeah, that's what it says here. This is what you wrote down in 1929 in Chicago. 7 members of the Bugs Moran gang were killed by Al Capone's associates, significantly weakening Moran's gang. Bugs Moran.
How do you differentiate between a mob and a gang?
I don't know.
Okay, so there's never been a mob bang.
Good.
That was the joke I was trying to work on the other day. It was one of the jokes. Okay, so occasionally I think of a joke, right? Occasionally, right? And so one of them is like, so now in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, they've gotten rid of the dwarfs, right? The new movie coming out. So now it's just like a lady and 7 guys. And I've seen that movie in 3-minute installments every night for the last 30 years.
3 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, I like to get a bit of the story.
Were you going to answer that question, Aiden? Mob and a gang difference?
Well, I want to say, gangs are considered family, get the kids out. But I think when you look at the mob, it's more of the controlled structure of it. It's more, I guess it could be more history than the gangs would be. But, you got motorcycle clubs that can be tossed in there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a give or take gang. But if you want to talk to them, it's a club, it ain't a gang.
And there's no flash
that's what I
games.
think it's more history.
Yeah. Yeah. You missed. Did you want that joke, Jim?
And there's no flash games.
Okay, there you Flash mobs. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So there's no gang mobs or mob bangs.
Yeah, mob bangs.
Flash gangs.
Flash games.
Okay.
That's the big difference.
Yeah. How does the FBI they manage to infiltrate and dismantle major mafia families? So what were some of
I just want to ask quickly about protection, right? When you go in, so what I gather from protection, and I lived in England a lot, so you know about like the Krays, right? The Kray twins. You've seen the movie Legends? Aiden?
Yeah.
Okay, so
No, I have not.
okay, so the Krays, and one of them was the last one to be in the Tower of London. The Krays were a couple of twins. One of them was gay, one of them was heterosexual. It just adds a bit of flavour to the story, but they were twins. And they were like mobsters that went around, and then one of them stabbed a bloke in a pub or something like that. And every time you meet Cockneys, they're always like, they have a saying, they go, oh, geez, it wouldn't be like this if the twins were still alive. Like the twins kept law and order. So now they've been given this folklorish Jesse James type of thing to them, the Kray brothers, right? And if you see him, who played him in the movie?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy played both brothers.
Yeah.
So they went around. They were all about protection. They go around to the bars, go, hey, we can protect you. The other people won't come in. We'll make sure that there'll be no problems here. So when you ask for protection money on small businesses around the neighbourhood, is that just a fee they pay each month? And or is it a flat fee? Is it something you give each month that's a flat fee, or is it a percentage of their earnings? And do they get protection? Because you don't get much protection from the cops. The cops are spread too thin. Do you actually give them a service?
Yes. Yes, it's in your neighborhood, so you protect your neighborhood. We have people on the lookout, and most of the time you're protecting against the gangs or against other crews. So if someone comes, only time you had any really bad violence was other crews poaching. So if they're going to come poaching in your neighborhood, the outcome's never good. So yeah, protection against the gang. So against petty crime, somebody come and rob your place, we're going to find them and we'll have a little chat with them and figure something out. And as far as they would give you cash, and it not really based on your earnings, but we're going to figure this area makes a little more than that area. It's kind of how you want to look at it. But yeah, you get cash every month. They give it to you. But yeah, what it is if somebody fucks with that restaurant, we may not be there at the time, but it will be taken care of eventually. And odds are it's not going to happen again.
And what happens if someone doesn't pay the protection money? He goes, look, it's been with COVID, we're fucked, right? What do you do then? Because these are mum and pups. You're not inherently evil. You know what I mean? Like you guys are still trying to run a business. What do you do then?
That something would happen. You never know. It's a dangerous world out there. You get shot walking your doggy and shit like that. You never know. Someone might end up robbing the place. A brick can come through your window.
That would be terrible. If I get a brick
down.
through your window, heaven forbid, there's a fire on the establishment.
We're there to make sure that doesn't happen.
Right. So the FBI, when they're infiltrating or dismantling major mafia families, what sort of things do they do? Jim said informants and so forth. Like what are some of the methods they use?
They're assholes. They come in, they watch you, again, they come and they take pictures and they use that against you. It's like anything. They just do surveillance on you. Now and then they'll put bugs in people's places. That's why usually places we always had somebody there 24/7. And so it makes it harder for them to sneak in. Now, if somebody came in and all of a sudden there's a roust where they arrested everybody in the house to get them out for a while, you knew something was going to be done. So you move somewhere else until you sweep the place and you can find out what's going on. And all of a sudden you have a big remodeling job to do. But that's really it. It's mostly surveillance and people talking. You strong arm somebody, say you're going to go to prison, like happened to me. You want to go to prison the rest of your life. This is what we need you to do.
Right.
That's how it goes.
That seems like a fairly easy choice.
What was that thing? I have it here somewhere. The RICO Act? Didn't they use that? What was the RICO Act? They always say that.
What? The RICO Act is basically anything to do with organized crime that can be used against you.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just basically they can do whatever the fuck they want, and almost like, you're talking about Trump made up bullshit. That's kind of what it is. And to do any association, anything with the mob, it's the penalties are more extreme.
Yeah, I found it stands for Racketeer, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act, the RICO Act. Yeah.
And what does the term racketeering mean?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
That would have been a good question. When you brought that up, I was shitting myself that you'd ask me. It's running rackets, right?
It's numbers. It's numbers.
Yeah, this is the definition I found online. It's a type of crime where the person sets up a coercive, fraudulent, extortionary, or otherwise illegal coordinated scheme. So rackets, that's what's in the name, racket.
Now, once you're in the mafia, can you just leave? Can you at any stage go, even if you're a made man, can you go, I've had a good run, I'm moving to Hawaii with the wife, I'm good, thank you? Or do you know too many secrets to ever get out?
It depends. That all depends. People I know retired. We're going to go with the older ones, and they're going to go. They went to prison. They came out, and the one who went to prison, he came out and said, "Yeah, I'm done with this shit." And he went to Arizona, and we're like, "See you." That's it. When it's people like that. Someone leaves, and then all of a sudden people get arrested, and you're going to have a little thinking about maybe that person had something to do with it. That's kind of how you got to look at it. I don't mean there's not this once you're in forever. You'll be associated forever. It's not like, but I know guys that have like moved to Florida, moved to Arizona and shit that just we're retiring kind of.
Do you know blokes who got into the business, did a whole life of crime, and then got away with all of it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's good to know.
Yep. I knew a couple of them.
Little career change for you?
Yeah, mate.
What is the significance of the term La Cosa Nostra? Jim said it means Merry Christmas in Italian. I don't think that's right.
Nostra.
La Cosa is just family. It basically means, your family. It's us. It's basically us. I've always perceived us against the world, but we're together. We're family, and you don't go against your family. When I started very young, we used to have the dinners and the gatherings where my father's associate. We would all be together, and it was a big family. The people from the old country come in and make food. Oh, unbelievable! We don't get the food that's good. We would get that. And it's a family thing, and everybody sat there and chatted and goofed around. It was a good time.
And how did you first get approached to get into it, or did you approach them?
How it started for me is we were kids. Hey, go get me a drink, and then mine was, hey, Aiden, we'll come by the shop. I got something for you. I'm like, all right, I rode my bike there. We take this to this place, drop it off. You know where it's at? We'll show you where it's at. We'll tell you where it's at. Drop it off. They may give you some. Bring it back. Don't look at it. Just do this. And I did that for a while. I would bring it back and get $30 or $40. And as a kid, I would go to the candy store and buy $30, $40. My friends were like, man, we were kings.
Yeah.
And that's how it all started for me. And I just worked my way from there that they liked me.
But you said that you didn't run drugs. What were you running?
That was mostly running to the politicians and cops, their money, exchanging money and information.
Oh, it's just dirty
We're
money.
actually growing older, That's what I would. That's what it was. Now the drugs, we didn't deal with drugs whatsoever. We let the way it was by Eddie is. I can't say it without being
No, sure. I understand.
nowadays, but basically the gangs ruined their neighborhoods, and we didn't deal with it. We still got a percentage, but we didn't mess with the drugs and didn't mess with our people.
And the 5 families, do we know who they are? Jim said the Manjaros, the Ozempics, the Lucianis, and the Gottis. I don't know if that's right.
Well, I think every city basically had 5 families, if not more. That was based in New York, New Jersey, and it's got Gambino is a big one. I think Columbia, he was like the main one.
Columbia,
I mean, all the families are in there, but that was before my time.
Wow.
The families sitting there are still there, but this was the start of it where they got the organization together. And all the other families kind of had, like, I guess it's like a tree. You had your branches going out, and you had different crews. Crews for this neighborhood, crews for that neighborhood. We had a crew where I was an area. We had our area, and that's how we did it.
And this says here on the sheet, it says Colombo, like you said, Gambino, Genovese, Lucchese, and
Lucchese.
Bonanno.
Yeah, but
Bonanno.
why can't you have one like Johnson?
Wow. There's
Smith.
Italian.
Johnson.
How many Italians?
Why does it always have to be
That's
Italian though?
Italian.
Why can't a non-Italian start up a mob and just go, we're going to start running this area over here? Why are they so connected to this Italian thing? You, as you said, were Hungarian. I've always felt excluded from the mob ever since I've moved to America and all my endeavors to become a member.
Yeah.
Same that and Soho House for the longest time, weren't letting me in. Right, and so why Italian? Why can't we have a rise in something else? Like, is it because that there's a code that they have amongst each other, and that they are they excluding people? Can I go to court about this?
I think there's a class action lawsuit.
Yeah, class action lawsuit going. The bloody Italians won't fucking let me in. And I know how to do all the racketeering. I'm a great raconteur, they reckon.
Yeah, I think you have a case. It's called.
I mean, it's Iranians. It's from the old country. You got proven from the old country.
Did you ever know an Australian mobster?
Here,
Did you ever know an Australian mobster like Gary the Snitch? It wasn't a good nickname. You shouldn't have started like that.
It was accurate, though.
Did you have a nickname?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
My nickname was Sandwich.
Because he's a big boy. He's a big boy. And
That's my nickname.
and you get 2 bits of bread and mash your head like this. Boom! Sandwich.
Yeah, that's a good nickname.
Yeah.
I'll
No,
tell you
your
the story.
nickname's
You wanna
not
know the story
Sandwich.
of how he got Sandwich?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of course.
We were sitting there eating, and Eddie goes, "Hey, that motherfucker over there, he owes me money. I don't know, like 20 grand." Before I even say, I was out of my seat running after him. I got him at the ground, kicking the shit out of him. I hear bone snapping. I'm just stepping all over this clown, and I'm eating a sandwich. And I never lost my sandwich. I'm still eating a sandwich, and Dominic shows up, which is basically the third in command, but Eddie's other right hand man. And he's like, "You fucking beating the shit out of this motherfucker eating a sandwich? Are you shitting me?" And I'm like, "I'm fucking hungry. Fuck this asshole." And I'm like, I kicked him in the nuts and said, "You know what? And you got till whatever, I remember you got to take a week to get the fucking money for Eddie." And this guy's on the ground crying and bleeding like a mother. I'm laughing at him, stepped on his face and walked away while eating my sandwich.
And what sandwich was it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
It was a fucking corned beef.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, classic. Classic.
A bit of a Thousand Island dressing on the
Yeah,
guy.
classic. Okay, so I'm glad we covered your voice up. Hungarian guy called Sandwich. They'll never crack the code.
Who was the who was the infamous mobster known as Teflon Don? You got that right, John Gotti, Teflon Don. What was the significance of the Castellammares War? Am I saying that right? Do you know what that is? Or is that before your time, or is that the
That was before my time. I'm not 100% sure. It's just probably, again, anytime you look at these guys, anytime any of the areas, it's over our property, basically over neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And I want to take over this area, and I want to do this area. You know, and like in the movies, everybody says, you know, that they were that we just kill people. Most of the time, anybody got hurt was other crews for poaching or do something stupid. As far as normal people, no. I mean, unless they're really fucked up, which is a rarity, you would, and it's like an old term, it's bad for business. And then if you did them too much, then you're bringing too much notice on yourself, too much heat. So you want to make a message, but you didn't want to overkill it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just looked it up here. The Castellammares War between mafia factions in New York City in the 20s and 30s, it ended up with the establishment of the commission, the reorganization of American mafia. So that's when Luciano established that commission.
This might be a stupid question,
Okay.
but so you have
Might be.
a couple of these mafias do money laundering. What's the benefit of doing all this money laundering versus just what's being covered up, what's being done illegal versus just doing something proper? What benefit are you
Because
getting?
if they chase the money, if you have $1 million in your bank account,
Right.
and you go, hey, it's from my waste disposal company, da 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 da.
right, so where's that $1 million coming from? I'm just like,
The $1
what's
million
the business
is
being done?
coming from Sandwich smashing the shit out of some cunt for 40 grand. He does that once a week
Why does that guy need to pay $40,000?
because he lent the money to him. He let him.
Is it all just money
He let
lending?
him $20,000, and he said, "All right, you degenerate gambler, here's $20,000. But if you don't pay me back in time, it's $1,000 a week for each week that you get it wrong."
It was like the trucks too.
Yeah, and then they're taking over trucks and also the protection money.
Yeah.
Right.
And
But is it real protection or is it like protection like we'll
He
fuck you
answered.
up on the...
He answered it. He said it was real protection.
Yeah, it's real protection against other mobs. You get rid of all the mobs, you don't need the protection as much.
Yeah.
Like, there's no Subway sandwich shop in Studio City that's got protection going on.
No, I've been there.
There's
We-
a Subway sandwich shop there.
Yeah, there's a Subway, yeah, of course, selling foot-long fucking pretzels.
Like cookies.
Everything's foot-long.
What is the Teamsters Union? How's it related to the mob? Jim said they're the ones that load up the trucks and drive the trucks, fell off the back of a truck. Yeah, we know about the Teamsters
Well,
Union.
yeah, and they were, what's his name ran it, before he disappeared, he's
Hoffa.
somewhere in New York.
Jimmy Hoffa.
Jimmy
in
Hoffa,
the football stadium. Hoffa, yeah. So that's really, what it is they were using it to get money. There was money laundering thing. So they were like, Vegas was made when they did the Flamingo, was made for the money from fucking Hoffa gave money from the Teamsters retirement fund.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
So
I've seen this movie.
That's
yeah.
really what it was. It was basically their bank. You know,
Yeah.
that's like the way I understand how it was ran.
So there's more laundry. So there's always this whole series of different
Just money being moved.
businesses to appear legitimate. Yeah.
Now, this is going to... How do I say this? From what I see in the movies, the Italian mafia seems to be... And you said you couldn't be a made man because you were from Hungarian descent. Were there... What minorities did you have in the mafia? Did you have black people, Asian people? Did you have homosexuals?
Okay. No.
I just wanted to check.
For us in the chop shop that were Mexican and were black, we didn't have any Chinese, Japanese, or Asians, or that were guys that were like anybody that were really part of the crew, because there was, we were racist as fuck. And back then that's the way it was. And it's just how it was. As far as like with me, it depends how they know you. I mean, there was one of the guys that was in the crew that was Jewish, and they didn't give a shit.
Right, but they can dump, like Andrew Dice Clay famously acted Italian for a lot of his career.
That other than, excuse me?
Well, Jewish people can act Italian. They've got an Italian sort of vibe going on.
If they live in New York, I guess.
Yeah, if they live in New York, you can, but it's not as okay. So the big Asian gang, the Triads. Where do the Triads come from, Forrest?
Don't know. I have no clue.
Like, because I don't want to get it wrong. Like they're just from Thailand or something, or they could be from China. China, the Triads, right? Yeah. Do you ever have to deal with the Triads? I don't know why this question.
No. We never really had to deal with the Triads. I mean, we dealt with the gangs. They had the Crips, they had the Vice Lords, the Latins, shit like that. That's all over. As far as any overseas ones, no. I mean, the Albanians and the Russians those dickheads are around, but they weren't like they are today. But as far as anything, not really. I mean, we never dealt with an Asian group. I don't know how that would have went. It would have been throwing stars against bullets.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I've seen some Jackie Chan movies. I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but I don't think it would have been a pleasant experience for either group.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The last
it would have been kinky, but it would have been all right.
The last question we asked was, who was the first mobster to publicly testify against the mafia? Jim said Henry Hill. What I have here as an answer is wrong. Do you know the name? I have it here. If you know.
I don't remember.
Joseph Valachi. It says
before my time.
Yeah. Joseph Valachi was the first mob.
60s?
63. Yeah.
I have it open, but I'm not looking at it.
So did you?
Yeah.
Did you want to talk a bit when you worked for the DOJ? Is that properly characterizing that you worked for them, like to help bust these cops?
Yeah. Well, what it was is when the FBI decided they're going to take out, our crew and everybody's getting arrested. Eddie came and said, you have a chance. You haven't been arrested. Go make something, get away. We're all being arrested. I'm leaving. Just keep an eye. Just make sure my son's okay. That was it. Last time I ever talked to the man. And I went to school and they showed up. And I never did anything with the FBI because they're assholes. And the DOJ, not much better. They just showed up, threw pictures in front of me and said, you know what, we need you to do this shit for us. And to make a long story short, they had pictures of my mom, my dad, me, and everybody with all the associates. And I didn't care about, they told me everybody's going to go to jail, me, dad, everything. But when they got to my mother and said my mom was going to go to jail, that kind of got to me. That's what got to me. They threatened to put my mom in jail. And so at the time I was in college playing football, and they said, party your way out, and then we got something we want to do. And when I did it, the first thing they wanted me to do is get on this department and find a police officer that was doing hits for a crew. And I did. I got on, but at the time I was physically fit and played football in college, so I ended up getting on with no problem back in that time. Not I don't know how it is today. And after I did that, they had me go to another department to get on, which happened to be the department in the town I grew up in. And they didn't put me, I wasn't undercover. I was an informant. So the way it was put in front of me is if something goes wrong, there's no backup, you're fucked. If something happens to you, we don't give a shit.
Right.
We need to get this information so you stay out of prison.
And did they?
But if something goes wrong and you get killed, well, that sucks to be you.
Did they give you a timeline on how long you would have to be an informant for? Did they say you're going to have to be an informant for 2 years or something, or you're an informant for life?
They didn't tell me any. They said, we need you to do this. Basically what happened, I did it for about 14, 15 years, and they came up and said, hey, thank you for everything, peace out. Here's a stipend. That was it. I thought maybe, at the time, after starting doing it, maybe I could go work for these fucks. And no.
Now, while you were working as an informant, were you allowed to collect your criminal money?
my criminal. I wasn't doing it. At that time, we were broken up because the FBI arrested everybody. So I kind of got away. And the reason they even really did me to do it is because of what I did, because the whole department and the politicians were all corrupt. And they knew who I was. And the first time I met with the mayor and the commissioner was, Aiden, you're going to toe the line. I go, sir, I'll do whatever you need me to do. You'll do what you've been told? Yes, sir, whatever you need me to do. And that's how it all started with these guys. I ended up putting several officers and a bunch of politicians in prison. And it wasn't one of those like, I asked, so am I going to testify? No, we just want the information to be used against them that we can use to get them to go to prison. Because if you testify, you're one and done. We don't want that.
Do you have?
We want to use you to get the information we needed.
Do you have regrets?
No, not really for my whole life. The only regret was when they did it to me, I was young and dumb, 19, going on 20. I basically I don't know how my life would have turned out, told them to get fucked, because I'm not sure if I would have went to prison with what they said they had, but I probably would have.
Right.
So, no, I have no regrets. I really don't have any regrets, because when I was doing the first part, I enjoyed everything I got out of it, these side perks. And the only thing I regret is when I did get into law enforcement, and once you get in law enforcement, you have that blue line. So it's men and women in law enforcement. And you don't cross it. It's almost like with the family. If you betray them, you're betraying the family. And until anybody in the world walks a mile in a police officer's shoes in a major city or any big city that's got a lot of crime, you don't know what it's like to be one. And I became an alcoholic and had very bad night terrors where I would wake up and in these stupors in the motel room with my 357 next to me with a round in it. And I know of at least 200, if not more times, going over everything, that I would put a round in the chamber, a magnum round, spin that barrel and pull the trigger in my mouth or the side of my head. And there was a couple times I woke up with 3 rounds in the chamber, and God, for some reason, said, we're not going to end your life right now. And how the hell I got so fucking lucky. But I was in such a bad time, a bad place, because of all that. And it was eating at me because I couldn't talk about it. And that's the only regret I have, is going through that very bad time.
What do you miss most about being a mobster? Or is there anything you miss?
I miss the respect. You don't get there's no respect nowadays. These kids, this world has zero respect. I get in trouble now and then driving, and I still yell at everybody because everybody's an asshole driver, including myself. And
should be able to shoot them.
No respect. You need to go talk to somebody or anything. There's no respect in the world.
I got no respect for cunts who sit at the light on their phone.
The biggest thing I miss is the respect you would get.
All right, this is the part of our show called Dinner Party Facts. We ask our guests to give us a fact or a story or something interesting or obscure they can use to tell people at a dinner party or a bar. What do you got for us, Aiden?
You know what? Mine's got to do, my life has changed because of religion, and I'm a Baha'i faith now. I don't know if you guys know what Baha'i is, look it up. But it's the youngest religion out there. And I'm just going to say, if you go to a dinner party, that there's only been one miracle ever caught that was done for newspapers or anything that was seen and publicized from 1850, where the Bob was sentenced to death by 750 riflemen. When they shot, and they hung him from a rope and they shot, and after the smoke cleared, he was missing along with this kid that was named Anus that was going to die with him. They disappeared. They did it's like, where are they at? In his prison cell, because prior to getting shot, he says, I'm not ready to die. I'm not done talking. And when he was done, at the second time, he goes, I'm done talking. I'm ready to die. And they went and did it again with another 700. The first group was Christian. They said, fuck this shit. we don't know what happened here. We're leaving. So you got 700 people did the same thing in their roles, and that was publicized.
Well, I'm done talking, but
That's
I'm not
sorry,
ready to
that's not
die.
the greatest. I mean, I have some stories, but most of them I can't really talk about.
No, I understand. Aidan, you've been a fantastic guest. You've been very honest with us as much as you could be. And I very much appreciate you being on the podcast, mate. I think this is going to be a real interesting one for people to listen to.
And the book is Conflicting Loyalties. It is available on Amazon. We have a link to it. And you can find more information at Conflicting Loyalties Book on Instagram, Conflicting Loyalties on the Facebook page. And Aidan is on Twitter or X, Gabor Aidan, Gaboraiden. Thank you, Aidan.
Aidan, thank you for being at the podcast. If you're at a party and someone comes up to you and says, there's 6 families, going, well, I don't know about that, and then smash him in the head with a fucking sandwich. Good night, Australia.
You know,